The weekend is finally here again and we got game week 3 of the English Premier League on our hands to predict. You are always advised to choose the picks you agree with and do not bet with money you cannot afford to lose. So without further ado, let us get right into it. The third of 4 straight all-capital clashes on the Chelsea fixture calendar, the Blues battle West London derby rivals Fulham in Saturday's early Premier League kickoff. Enzo Maresca's merciless men roared to a 5-1 demolition of West Ham United in game week 2 after going a goal behind, while the Cottagers played out their second successive 1-1 draw, this time at home to Manchester United. Fulham may have left Stamford Bridge shell-shocked last season, but Chelsea have still only lost 8.3% of their Premier League clashes with the Cottagers, the joint lowest percentage between two sides who have met at least 20 times in the competition. Maresca's men ought to find it harder to break down their visitors than they did at West Ham, but the title outsiders should still have no trouble marching to a professional victory. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 Chelsea win, and my betting tip is total over 9.5 corner kicks. Fresh from their embarrassing EFL Cup exit in midweek, a deflated Manchester United outfit welcomed newly promoted Burnley to Old Trafford for their latest Premier League contest on Saturday afternoon. The two teams meet for the first time since April 2024 when the Clarets held the Red Devils to a 1-1 top-flight draw on the red side of Manchester. Considering the dire situation Man United find themselves in, it is difficult to confidently back the Red Devils to prevail against any opponent they come up against. Burnley demonstrated their defensive strengths last season before keeping a clean sheet against Sunderland last time out, and the Clarets will back themselves to frustrate the hosts this weekend. Man United will be regarded as the favourites, but Burnley may do enough to hold on for a point. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and my betting tip is total corners over 9.5. Aiming to win their first 2 Premier League home games of a season for just the second time ever, Sunderland welcome Brentford to the Stadium of Light for a Saturday afternoon showdown. The two outfits both boast 3 points from their opening 2 clashes but suffered contrasting EFL Cup fortunes in midweek, as the Black Cats were dumped out by Huddersfield Town while the Bees took down Bournemouth. And the 940th different fixture to be played in the Premier League, Brentford have our vote to prolong their successful streak and simultaneously Sunderland's dampening run of defeats. The Bees appear to be rediscovering their attacking touch under Andrews, while the absence of Ballard means that Sunderland have lost one of their chief threats in both penalty areas. So I'm going to go for a 1-2 Brentford win, and my betting tip is total over 2.5 goals. Top spot in the Premier League table is there for the taking for Tottenham Hotspur when they welcome Bournemouth to their North London home on Saturday afternoon. Thomas Frank masterminded a terrific 2-0 triumph at Manchester City last weekend, while the Cherries are reeling from a second-round EFL Cup exit at the hands of Brentford. With Semenyo in the side, Bournemouth always pose a threat going forwards, and the Cherries are seldom kept at bay in Premier League away matches. However, a consolation strike is surely all that Iraola's men can hope for, as a well-rested and well-motivated Spurs side should claim top spot in the table for approximately 24 hours at least. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 Tottenham win, and my betting tip is total corners over 9.5. Everton travel to Molineux to face Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League on Saturday on the back of consecutive wins at their brand-new stadium over the past week. There were no teething problems as David Moyes' men recorded 2-0 wins over both Brighton and Hove Albion and Mansfield Town, but they now face a Wolves side buoyant from their first win of the campaign in midweek. Everton have made a habit of crashing back down to earth spectacularly after a morale-boosting win, but as long as they do not revert back to the type of performance seen at Leeds, they have a good chance of taking something here. Wolves would potentially be happy with a point to get off the mark, as they still need to strengthen in the market and also keep hold of Strand Larson, so a confident Everton will not be ideal visitors. So I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw, and my betting tip is both teams to score. Fresh from their EFL Cup second-round exit in midweek, Leeds United will hope to return to winning ways in the Premier League when they play host to Newcastle United at Elland Road on Saturday evening. The two teams square off the first time since May 2023, when Eddie Howe's side were held to a 2-2 top-flight draw in West Yorkshire. After beginning life back in the top flight with a 1-0 win over Everton in front of a rocking Elland Road crowd, last season's championship title winners Leeds have had less to cheer about across their last two matches, which have ended in defeat. On the other hand, Newcastle failing to take advantage of an extra man in their goalless stalemate with Aston Villa on the opening weekend, Newcastle looked on course to claim another solitary point from their eagerly anticipated showdown with reigning champions Liverpool on Monday night. Leeds will always back themselves in front of the Elland Road faithful and will hope to take advantage of Newcastle potentially missing a number of key players. However, the Magpies are still capable of fielding a strong lineup that should have enough quality to get the better of the Whites. So I'm gonna go for 1-2 Newcastle win, and my betting tip is total over 2.5 goals. Brighton and Hove Albion and Manchester City are both on a mission to recover from two-goal setbacks in Sunday's Premier League showdown at the Amex Stadium. The Seagulls succumbed to a 2-0 loss to Everton at the Toffees' new home last weekend, while the Sky Blues were slain by Tottenham Hotspur on their own soil again. A manic Merseyside atmosphere did not help Brighton at Everton's new base last weekend, and a return to home comforts could also signal a return to scoring ways for Hurslers' outfit. City's attack will be back with a vengeance, though, and we have complete faith in Guardiola's men to banish the memories of last weekend with a familiar away-day success. So I'm gonna go for a 1-3 Manchester City win, and my betting tip is Manchester City to win at full time. With Nuno Espirito Santo still at the helm, Nottingham Forest play host to West Ham United at the City Ground in Sunday's Premier League showdown. The Tricky Trees remain unbeaten after the opening two match weeks of the campaign, whereas the Irons have hit low ebb after low ebb. West Ham's miserable streak of scoring failures at the City Ground may come to an end on Sunday, but the odd consolation is surely the best that Potter's pitiful side can hope for. A full-strength Forest attack can carve open a porous Irons defense more than once to march to an emphatic victory, one that will temporarily take them above both Arsenal and Liverpool. So I'm gonna go for a 3-1 Nottingham Forest win, and my betting tip is total over 8.5 corner kicks. Gold hosts silver in Sunday's Premier League main event, as reigning champions Liverpool take on perpetual runners-up Arsenal at Anfield in an early title six-pointer. Both contenders will put 100% records on the line on August 31st, but while the Reds trump the Gunners on the scoring front, it has been a different story defensively thus far. In spite of the losses of Havertz and Saka and the potential absence of Odegaard, Arsenal transfer chiefs have been busy adding fleet-footed threats who can ask serious questions of a suspect Liverpool backline, not to mention their astounding record from set pieces and impeccable defensive performance. Arteta's rearguard may not come away completely unscathed, but a full-strength Arsenal shield can limit their hosts to a solitary strike and capitalize on their hosts' vulnerabilities to earn a potentially season-defining 3 points. So I'm gonna go for a 1-2 Arsenal win, and my betting tip is both teams to score. The third time could be the charm for either Aston Villa or Crystal Palace when the two winless outfits collide in Sunday's Premier League finale at Villa Park. The Lions and the Eagles have accumulated just 3 points between them in the 2025-26 campaign thus far, although Oliver Glasner's men have achieved victory on the continent. Not only did Palace have to head abroad in midweek, Glasner had little room to rotate, and the 9 players who completed 90 minutes against Fredrikstad will most likely have to go again here. As a result, a hitherto blunt Villa should find their way through and shut up shop against their fatigued foes to earn Premier League win number 1 for the season. So I'm gonna go for a 1-0 Aston Villa win, and my betting tip is Crystal Palace to win with an handicap of 2.